Welcome back to Gethin Christian's channel, and I'm glad to have you all back because tonight I have a review of something quite special and probably on all of your wish lists if you don't already have one. So let's get it underway, and it starts with this rather unassuming and unimpressive cardboard Seiko box which you get with Cocktail Times and other cheap watches, but this one isn't cheap. It is the 63 Mass, the SPB143J. So let's take him off this cushion for a closer look. And here he is, and look what you get inside. Some kind of SpongeBob pubic hair, and not very good, not even evenly distribution of the sponginess. And you'll get some beautiful Prospex SPB143J1, and of course a packet of desiccant. Do not throw away, do not eat it. I will probably eat it because my stomach contents are a bit wet, so that's fine. All in all, the box is not great, but that doesn't matter because what we have here is one of Seiko's finest masterpieces, and this one, of course, belongs to my good friend Mr. June with his noodly Nadgarstak. He is a true gedge, and we appreciate everything he has done for the channel because almost all of the watches I review come from him. He is a true flipper, and he's also a fucking twat, but don't worry about that. So let's talk about the 62 Mass. Now the 62 Mass, the 6217, was released in 1965, and it was Seiko's first dive watch. The Mass stands for Seikomatic Self-Data, and the 62 denotes the first two numbers of the 6217A movement that came with that watch. A skin diver and a true legend in the diving fraternity. This is a reissue of that piece, and they first reissued these watches in 2017 with the SLA 017 and the SPB 051. Unfortunately, the 017 SLA cost about £3,500, far too expensive for most people, and was limited to 2,000 pieces. And the SPB 051 was a bit big in comparison to the original, and doesn't resemble it that well. Nice watch, but it was large and didn't really look like the 62 Mass. Fortunately for us all, in 2020, two new reissues were released. We had the SLA 037 High Beat, a 4 Hz, 30, whatever it is, 1,000 vibrations per hour, and the SPB 143. Which is this. And it is something else. I mean, it just is. I mean, it's an affordable rendition of this classic watch, and it is faithful. It really is insane. I absolutely love this watch. I can't tell you how much I love it. So let's start with the specs, and we'll get off and underway with the case size, which is 40.5 millimeters of diameter, and the thickness is, well, they say it's 13. I measured it at 13.8 because this relief of the tsunami and the double dome sapphire, I mean, it depends where you measure it from, but it's nearly 14, but they're talking about 13. Who cares, really? It's not that important. They're saying it's 13, and you have this 20 millimeter lug width here, which tapers down to 18 at the clasp and what a lovely clasp and buckle, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it is a perfect size watch. I mean, a 47.5mm lug to lug. This watch is perfect for almost everybody, an everyday wearer. You can wear it all day with great comfort, and you won't be desperate to take it off at the end of the day after a long day down at the allotments. I mean, this watch is, even the smallest of wrists would struggle to not be able to accommodate this piece. It's all stainless steel, and it comes with Seiko's Dire Shield coating, which you don't get on some of the cheaper models, and this coating is a great thing that aids scratch resistance and gives a slightly darker finish to the steel. I don't know if you can see that. I thought I'd polished it, but it's got a few smudges. So it gives a slightly darker finish, but I love that. I love that Dire Shield finish that you get. And Marine Hui has the same thing. Where is he? He's over here. We have this Dire Shield. It gives a sort of dark steel finish. If you look at a Seiko watch that doesn't have Dire Shield, we can show you. You see, you get a slightly lighter effect. Anyway, it's perv stuff. It doesn't really matter. But yes, you also get, among many things, a stainless steel bezel insert, which is an upgrade from the usual aluminium that you'll feature with cheaper Seikos. This watch isn't cheap. I mean, it costs £1,100 GBP retail price. And thanks to Mr. Jun, who's an extremely clever gypsy wizard, he was able to source this watch used, unworn, on eBay for £750, which I think this watch is worth. It's not worth £1,100, but new condition on eBay, you can find these if you bide your time for £750 to £850 GBP, which is a steal. I wouldn't pay retail for it, but this is a used watch. It's not got a scratch on it. It's perfect, and he saved himself several hundred zlotys. What else can I say? I'm trying to refer to my notes and hold the watch and do it all in one take. It's not easy, bros. It's taken me a long time to accomplish this fact, and tonight my tripod gave up one of his legs, unfortunately, so I've had to reconfigure his tripodedness to feature this review. But there we are. It's a 200-meter water-resistant watch, as almost all Seiko watches are, with a screw-down crown and screw-down case bag. It is ISO 6425 certified. The new regulations demand a loom sliver at the 3 o'clock. The 2020 models of this watch, before the latest ISO regulation update, did not demand that, and they are preferred by many people. It isn't great, and I have it on my Marine Master, and the earlier ones of that didn't have it either, but, you know, truncated loom slivers, you don't really notice them unless you really look. So, you know, that's fine. The stainless steel bezel insert is great, and I think it's not been upgraded to ceramic to contain this watch's vintage appeal. It is a reissue of a 1965 watch, of course. Double dome sapphire crystal, absolutely beautiful. Look at that. It's almost boxed. It's got anti-reflective coating on the internal side. All kinds of distortions are featured when you look at the dial, which is also great. It really is fantastic. Look at that. There's some sort of beveling on the edge there. It's slightly proud of the bezel. Awesome. Internal city matrix is powered by the 6R35 movement. This is basically an upgraded 6R15 movement. It gains 20 homos, going from 50 to 70 hours of power reserve. It's a 24 joule, 21,600 vibration per hour movement, a 3 Hz movement, as usual with Seiko, and tolerances are stated at -15 to +25, which is shit. Absolutely shit. But I mean, it should run better than that. Most of them do. It's not great. For £1,100, you can have an ETA 2824 with a great bracelet. I mean, but you won't get this. And we love them, don't we, guys? I mean, we love Seiko, but why can't they do it the way you want them to do it? It features hacking and hand winding, a date complication, lovely, and an absolutely stunning anthracite grey-black dial sunburst dial. It's hard to show it in the darkness, in the light, but it is absolutely stunning. Hacking and hand winding, date complication. There we go. And I'm trying to not repeat myself here, guys. But yes, the dial furniture, of course, is excellent. We have trapezoidal indexes with extremely generous application of loom. This one has the loom applied quite evenly. I've heard some people complaining that the loom is a little bit off, but it looks even there. Pencil sword style. This is another plus for me on the watch. This handset, we have these pencil hands, sword style, and they have brushing on one side and polishing on the other, some beveling, and they really do glimmer in the light and provide that Seiko magic that we all love. The seconds hand has a wonderful loom beacon at the tip, which looks amazing. Look at him spinning around the dial, and he complements the indexes with a similar style. In my opinion, this handset is second only to the Marine Master 300, the best handset of all time. It's not that far away, just a little bit slimmer. Absolutely proper, and for the beach, in the face, in my opinion. Of course, you have an unsigned crown, which is a bit of a shame, but the crown action is saluted by me. It's absolutely, the winding is beautiful, and it screws in without a hint of negativity. It really doesn't make you have any fear of strippage. It's just great. Does a lovely job. So we'll move on to the bezel action, which is very good. Very good. It's a little stiff, as you can hear. It's quite tight. It feels good. The coin engine which you have, which looks sublime, isn't the grippiest, but it is extremely good. Personally, I prefer the Sumo bezel, much to the chagrin of Mr. June, but this is a little bit more mushy and smoother. easier to turn. I don't know. I prefer it, but this is all a point of view. So this one is also extremely good. It's just a bit more loud and a bit stiffer. It's no MM3, but what is? Loom Pipper 12, shrouded and protected, which is the way it should be. But unfortunately, this 6R35 suffers from inconsistent accuracy, which has been widely reported by many of its owners, which, I can attest, because I had the same issue with the 6R15 on my Saab. Wildly inaccurate, but, still a great watch. Moving on to the bracelet. The bracelet is good, and better than any you'll find, in cheaper Seikos, but still it's not as good as the competition in this tax bracket. It has a lovely milled clasp, and fold over double deployance. Nice beveling on the edges. This is an upgrade from the Turtles and Samurais and etc. of the Seiko world. It is a nice clasp, but it features the same old crap Seiko diver's extension that nobody wants to see or use. I mean, it's so awkward to even. I can't even undo it. How do we even? There we go. Look at that. You'll never use it, and it is shit. Completely pointless. Why Seiko can't design a new ratcheting diver's extension in the same way that many other brands are doing now, in this price range? Shinji Hattori, are you listening to me, bro? I don't know. Solid end links are featuring here. Lovely, and let me not get away from the case back. And this one has a beautiful tsunami wave in relief. And we have, what do we have? I like to do the date of manufacture, which is 2021 June 489. The watch can't hide its flaw here, and this is its biggest flaw. I mean, these are nice end links, but this is, when it's dark you can see daylight in these gaps, bro, and it's not on one end, it's on both ends. Look at that. This watch costs over 1,000 GBP, and it's just loose as fuck. Looks worse in real life, I promise you that. Extremely disappointing. Pin and collars are featured on these solid links, which are very nice. It's a 3-link bracelet. Articulation is reasonable. No problem for me. But the star of this watch is the case. This Skin Diver case is just brilliant. Beautiful finish work all over it, all over the place. And Seiko excels here. We know that. We know it. You don't buy a Seiko for its bracelet, you buy it for the case. And that's what you're going to get here. Drilled lugs are featuring. Big thumbs up from me. And so comfortable and attractive on the wrist. This is one of the most attractive watches I've ever worn. It is just beautiful. It's like a jewellery piece. And despite its flaws, I absolutely love it. I cannot stop looking at it whenever it's upon my noodly nagdarstack. In the same way I can't with the Marine Hoi. I think it's almost perfect. It's an almost perfect watch. Matthew Appazard, this one's for you. Rebuy it. It's not worth £1,100, but it's certainly worth £800, which you can find one for used in mint condition. And that's all I have to say really about this great Seiko watch. But now I'm afraid, guys, you're gonna if you've actually sat there for long enough to get to the end of the review, you're gonna have to let me geld off. And if you don't know what that means, what it means is, you know how Bob Geldof did Live Aid, and he was in a shit band that nobody liked, but because he'd organised the event, they had to let him perform at the end. No one wanted to see his crappy music, but they had to let him do it. That's what it means when you say let him geld off, because that's what you're going to have to let me do right now. I'm going to do a loom show with all my twaps. I love this bit. I know you've seen them all a million times, but I'm going to do it again. And we're going to have a full loom show with all the idiots. We've got Sumo here. Hello, Bloomo. There we go. And we've also got Mr. SKX. There we are. Hello, little chap. You're a good man, aren't you? And unfortunately, the outangling chief will be amongst them. Hui upon Nagdarstak. That completes the Seiko complement. Then we have the Swiss, of course, with Doxa, the worst loom in the world, but a great watch nonetheless. And what else do we have? This is the standard. This is the standard that sets the standard for all the other looms. Halcyon Shark Diver, and of course, Mr. Saturation will make an appearance. We'll do a little loom charge, a quick loom show, and then I'll let you all go to bed because it's getting quite late. So let's charge a little bit of loom all around the Christmas tree. What's up, bro? Let's have a little look. Are we ready? And let's see what we've got. Wow. Set point is thus. There is none brighter. He is like a quasar, blasting out infinite light into the galaxy. Of course, today's choice is the 14363. A little bit dim, but his loom application is quite slight. And of course, I can tell you, he does last quite long into the night. This will still glow in several hours. Marine Hoi, well, get rid of it. Let's just enjoy this loom for one moment. That's the end of my review, bros, and I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a pure pleasure for me. I hope you'll all follow me into my next review and beyond. I love you all, and thanks for your patronage. Stay freaky, and never give up.